G'day. Look, if you're in Australia right now, you know the feeling, that classic Aussie dream of owning your own place. Well, it feels like it's in a constant tug of war with these insane property prices, right? So today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest, if not the biggest, financial decisions you'll ever have to make. Should you buy or should you rent?
So, yeah, what's actually the smarter play as we look ahead to 2025? You hear it all the time, right? Is renting just dead money thrown away every month? Or is buying a house just a one-way ticket to a massive financial headache? It really feels like you're standing at a fork in the road. So let's break it down and figure out which one of these paths actually makes sense for you.
And just to really get a sense of what we're up against, check this out. $1 million. Yep, that's the new average price for a place in Queensland. I mean, wow. When you're staring down a number like that, the pressure is definitely on. So the big question is, how do you even begin to navigate this? Okay, first up, Australia's housing crossroads. The reality is, we are standing at a major crossroads here. There are these huge economic forces at play, and honestly, they're squeezing pretty much every household budget in the country. To make a smart call, you've got to understand what's really going on. And this right here tells a really tough story, especially if you're trying to save. So you've got average weekly earnings sitting at just over $2,000. Okay, but the real kicker is that other number, the CPI, that's the Consumer Price Index, basically how we measure inflation, is at 3.8%. What does that mean for you? Well, it means every single dollar you manage to put away is actually losing its buying power. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. That dream of a home deposit, it just keeps getting harder and harder to reach. All right, let's dive into our first option. We're calling this one renting, the freedom strategy. And this is really important. We're not talking about renting just because you feel like you have no other choice. No, this is about making a deliberate decision, an active financial strategy to build your wealth in a totally different way.
So how does it work? Well, it's basically a three-step pipeline. Step one, you get to sidestep all those massive upfront costs of buying a house. You know, stamp duty, that giant deposit, unexpected repairs, all of it. Step two, and listen up, because this is the most important part. You take the money you're not spending and you actively invest it. And step three, you give those investments a serious boost with something we like to call found money. So what's that? Let's take a look.
Okay, so this found money is all about being sharp with your day-to-day finances. You've got the government extending energy bill relief, which is a nice start. But then you've got comparison sites throwing out huge rewards. I'm talking up to $500 cash back just for switching your health insurance, or hundreds of dollars for signing up to a new NBN plan. This isn't about saving a few coins here and there. This is real, actual cash, pure profit that you can then funnel straight into a high-interest savings account that, you guessed it, beats that pesky 3.8% inflation rate. But of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. There's always a trade-off, right? The massive risk when you're renting is pretty obvious. You're not building any equity. You don't own the asset. And as we're all feeling right now, rents just keep going up and up. It's a huge focus for the government for a reason. That's kind of the price you pay for all that financial freedom and flexibility. All right, let's switch gears and look at the other side of the coin, buying, the equity game. Now, this is the traditional path, the one we all know. It's all about getting your foot on that famous property ladder and building real, tangible wealth over the long haul. But here's the thing, the rules of this game have really changed. It's not necessarily about slaving away for years to save a massive 20% deposit anymore. Lenders and the government are actually opening up new doors. We're seeing a lot more of these high LVR loans. That's loan to value ratio, which basically just means you can get in with a much smaller deposit. On top of that, you've got special loans just for first home buyers, and the government's expanding its Help to Buy scheme. In this chart just shows you exactly what a game changer that can be. Let's say you're looking at an $800,000 property. A standard 20% deposit, that's a staggering $160,000. But with one of those 95% LVR loans, that huge barrier to entry suddenly drops all the way down to $40,000. Now look, that is still a ton of money, don't get me wrong, but it makes the whole dream feel a heck of a lot more achievable for a lot more people. But you know what they say, with great loans comes great responsibility. The flip side, the buyer's burden is very real. You're still facing those massive upfront costs, you're taking on an absolutely enormous amount of debt, and you're carrying all the risk. What if the property's value doesn't grow, or it grows too slowly? You could end up paying all that interest for not much gain. So to recap, we've looked at the two main strategies, but
But now for the really interesting part. Let's see how this all plays out in the real world. Because it turns out the smartest move for you might come down to one single critical factor: your postcode.
But before we get into the city-by-city breakdown, let's just quickly nail down the core trade-off one more time. On one side, renting is all about cash flow and flexibility, the freedom to invest your money wherever you want. On the other side, buying is like a forced savings plan, where you're building wealth by paying down one giant asset. They're two totally different ways to play the wealth creation game.
Okay, so here it is, the big takeaway. In a market that's really taking off, like Brisbane, if you're in it for the long haul, we're talking 10 years or more, then buying probably is the smarter move. Your whole focus would be on smashing that mortgage down as fast as you can. But if you're in one of the more expensive cities like Sydney, Melbourne, or Perth, that rent and invest strategy we talked about could actually be way more powerful. Think about it. The cash you save by not having a massive mortgage can go straight into a portfolio of shares or ETFs, which are just an easy way to buy a whole bunch of different stocks at once. You could potentially build your capital much faster that way. All right, we've weighed up the pros, the cons, the different strategies. So what is actually your smartest financial move? Let's tie this all together.
So here's the final verdict. As we head into 2025, buying really makes sense for people who are craving that long-term stability and are in a position to take on that big initial debt and all the costs that come with it. Renting, on the other hand, is the smarter play for anyone whose main goal is to aggressively grow their capital through other kinds of investments, maybe with the idea of buying later on, but from a much stronger starting point.
But you know what? There's one piece of advice that is absolutely crucial, and it doesn't matter if you're renting or buying. This applies to everyone. The single most powerful thing you can do is to get obsessed with using financial comparison tools. And I don't just mean for your mortgage or your rent. I mean for everything: your insurance, your power bills, your internet. Hunting down and locking in outstanding value across every single one of your expenses, that is how you win this game, no matter which path you're on.
So there you have it. We've laid out the strategies, we've looked at the risks, and we've talked about the rewards. The game board is set, and hopefully the rules are a lot clearer now. You've seen the two paths laid out in front of you. The only question left is, which one are you going to master?